Hey, good morning. Hey, this is Jon Rognerud hollering at you here. Super excited for today, a new week. And man, we're going to go deep on some cool things here today. And by the way, if you want to learn more about this, why don't you today go straight to my website? Normally I ask you to go to chaosmap.com, but I got a lot of info on my personal page, which you may or may not have seen. And it's my name, JONROGNERUD. That's N as in Nancy. JonRognerud.com. That's me today. And good morning to the media and marketing listeners, and for you guys and gals on YouTube. And of course, we're here on Facebook today, right from the Jon Rognerud live page. And if you are watching right now, you are looking at my homepage, where there's a big old blue button there. So this is my pitch for today. If you go there, I'll show you how to get started getting more customers and brand lift while lowering your eCPM. That's just a fancy way of saying, hey, let's get your visibility, traffic, leads, and sales up while you actually lower your cost, meaning you have a higher return from your investments. You probably know this by now. I and my team do a lot of Facebook ads. And if you'd like to set up an appointment to speak, just go to my website, jonrognerud.com, and click the blue button. So that's my pitch for today. Thank you for listening to that. And we're going to go over to my main point today, and that is the market profiling diagnostic steps. You know, this is how you can really use this simple model to find out how to speak to your target audience, and also, very importantly, discover the best ways to not only communicate with that audience, but to actually find out who are they, right? So you may have a general direction on this, or a general knowledge on who your audience is. But how do you talk to these folks, right? Unless you have really detailed surveys and data studies from your audience, well, this is going to really help today. So I wanted to share this. And by the way, big disclaimer, I did not invent this. In fact, a lot of the stuff that you see here, on the good old interwebs, but online in general, is from somebody else. You know, somebody did X, the person B copied X, person C looked at X and developed their own methodology from it, and it became Y, which became Z, etc., and iterate. So a lot of this information out here is obviously found in books, found online, in YouTube videos and broadcasts like this. But here's what's cool. If you are a practitioner as well as an educator, you have an advantage. I spoke about this last week at Chapman University in Orange, California, where, there's a lot you can read from books, obviously, and you can watch tutorials on YouTube, and there's Skillshare and many, many places, Udemy or Udemy, however you pronounce that. And that's great. There's books you can listen to right now, right? Audible is awesome. You can go out on Amazon and, use their reader, and there's information everywhere. Well, what you need to do, though, is you need to make sure that you obviously, A, get the right information. So it's not just, hearsay. And B, very, very important, get it from somebody that you like, enjoy listening to or watching, and that relates to you, that can kind of communicate with you at your level. Right? And so what I'm sharing with you today, and a bit of a speech on that, trying to get to the main point here, is that one guy you should follow is Dan Kennedy. If you are not familiar with him, he's sort of the grandfather of direct response marketing. And Dan Kennedy is somebody I followed for years, and many of the top marketers too. And he developed this, essentially this 10-point market diagnostics list, right? And what I did is I just sort of angled it a little bit differently here, a different format. You're looking at it right now, and I'm going to take you through it here in a second. But it's important, again, to capture all this information from people you know, like, and trust eventually, right? And if you've just heard about me or you're watching this now, or listening to me, you may not be familiar with me. And one way to, of course, get to know me more is to go to jonrognerud.com. That's my website. And by the way, I'm going to be putting this document in the show notes so that you can get access to it and think about how to apply this for yourself. All right. So let's dig into the 10 smart market diagnostic steps. These are essentially profiling questions to target your audience. There's 10 of them, as I mentioned, and the first 6 here are really, 6 or 7 here are really sort of focused on very factual, direct sort of black and white things, right? Then, as we start moving beyond that, it gets a little bit more into the, I was going to say metaphysical, that is way too broad, but it's a little bit more touchy-feely and a little bit more on the, all of this ties into, of course, things we talk about all day long, which is, psychology and math, right? That's really what marketing is all about. But anyway, I'm not going to belabor the point. Let's dig right in. So number 1 is what I call eyes wide open here. And so what Dan calls out here is what keeps them awake at night. Indigestion, boiling up their esophagus, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. That's a big one right there. What we're talking about, and I covered this in the previous episode, especially when we're talking about Facebook advertising, this problem agitate solve framework, if you will. It's a copywriter's secret, PAS, right? So it starts with a problem, and eyes wide open is exactly that. So think about that. Now, of course, your question may be, great, Jon, I have some data on this, but how can I learn more about this? Well, for all of these things that I'm calling out today, if you have an email list or even, a bunch of followers, and it doesn't have to be that many, but you have enough data points to be able to do the market research, the analysis, pulling in your own resources and actually surveying. So literally a survey for finding out what they actually are, eyes wide open about. Well, that's going to be magic for you because now you can address that. And that leads right into number 2. Afraid. What are they afraid of? And afraid doesn't mean, I'm scared to go to war, right? We're talking sort of, Western civilization, if I can broadly speak from that angle. It's basically, what are you afraid of? And afraid of could actually be your competitor, right? Doesn't have to be personal at that level. Who are you afraid of in terms of your competitors out there? Are the competitors that are doing really well and you're just afraid of them overtaking your market? So think about that. And there's multiple points to this. By the way, when you get Dan Kennedy's book, I think it's The Ultimate Sales Letter, that's the one that this actually is listed in, right? So I think both that and there's also an Ultimate Marketing book from Dan Kennedy, both reference the 10 market diagnostics list. So you might want to pick that up to get more detail. Number 3, pissed off, right? Okay, so now it's getting into this level of, hey, what are they angry about? Who are they angry at, right? So talked a little bit about the afraid and your competitors, et cetera, et cetera. This takes it to the next level, right? And you can see how this easily gets into some very, strong psychological triggers in terms of how you can not only now, which is that audience that has these problems for you that you serve, but also start getting bullets for great copy that will invite, sort of when I say positive trigger, meaning positive trigger to take action towards your message and your next steps in your sales funnel or your marketing funnel, right? Number 4, frustrations. What are their top 3 daily frustrations? And if you think about that for a moment, now we're sort of going in from this, eyes wide open. What are they afraid of? What are they pissed off at? What are their frustrations? So your customers or prospects, your potential targets, what are their daily frustrations that keeps coming up that is maybe more specific than just looking at the ceiling at night or 3 a.m. in the morning, right? There's something going on that is an additional touch point, or 3 of them in this case, that you can call out. Now you could find out that there's 5 or 10, right? Well, list those down. The idea that, presenting this is that when you go through these, you can start making some notes on this. And I'm talking notebook, right? You don't have to sit in front of the computer and try and get this right out the gate. You might just want to brainstorm here. Number 5, trends. What trends are occurring and will occur in their business or lives? So here's a great way to find this out, by the way, very quickly. Again, back to your survey list, fine, but you can go to Google Trends. Look at Google Trends, type some general keywords, find out trending information in terms of the marketplace, in the business, right? But also what trends are going on in their lives. So depending on your market or your niche, there's going to be different aspects to this that will allow you to speak to that. So trends is a big deal as well. And you can see how these now are stacked on top of each other to give you a nice picture of, Tom and Susan, your independent avatars that you can address and speak to and really formulate messages to in a series of events that really will make them take action. And by the way, love you for it at the same time, right? This is not about, let me try be weird and sneaky and, play some sort of reverse psychology game here and try and draw them in that way. This is truly you trying to address their needs, calling it out, nudging them forward, and yes, agitate that as well, as I mentioned, to get them to take action, because the end result is you have a great product or service that will allow them to get their problems solved. So think about that. This goes deeper than just a series of marketing messages. And on that note, I'm speaking to you as a high integrity, authentic, marketer and business owner. Number 7, bias. Is there a built-in bias to the way they make decisions? And just perfect example, what Dan calls out here as well, is engineers are exceptionally analytical, right? So is there a certain bias that you can address or that you can call out that really draws them in? It's all about know, like, and trust. You're doing the marketing here. And by the way, we talk about marketing and sales, right? Marketing is that process of pre-framing, pre-selling, pre-positioning your messages, your brand, your product, your services through a series of messages, interactions, and media to get them into your sales process, which sales, again, then is where you actually do the transaction, whether it's online or they actually call you in the office, right? Or set up an appointment as we do. And by the way, you can do that also if you'd like to learn more at Jon Rognerud, JONROGNERUD.com. Just click the blue button there and we can jump on a call. But let me just tell you that this bias thing really works well for building sort of affinity with your audience. Language, number 8. Do they have their own language? Ties in a little bit to the bias, but it's a little more specific here, because if you are talking to a plastic surgeon and you say, hey, I can help you get more clients. Well, that's not how they speak. It's, yes, I would like to set more patient appointments, right? So the language here, the angling of that, it's going to be a little bit different. Number 9, similar products. Who else is selling something similar to them and how? So number 9 is great. And so I actually think I reversed this from the top, by the way. I'm going to pause here for a second. That I'd said that the first 6 or 7 is going to be, a little more factual and then emotional towards the end. It's actually reverse, I realize. It's been a while since I've looked at this. But yeah, all of the emotional triggers at first, and now we're getting into a little more market-specific, black and white things as we're getting into, the language and the bias, and then 9 similar products. Who else is selling something similar to them and how? So this is where you're out in the marketplace researching and analyzing, signing up for email newsletters, going out and doing maybe ghost calling if you want to see how your competitors or similar products or services are being done. That's a smart thing to do. And that's not an unethical or out of integrity thing to do. You're basically trying to compete in the marketplace, which is what they're doing as well. So it's totally cool, right? Similar products. And the last one here is, let me size this down a bit, and we move it over here. Similar outside sales. This is actually very, very interesting. Who else has tried selling them something similar, and how has that effort failed? So that is going to require a little bit of digging in here to find that information. But to find that out, you have to definitely, like you can see here, developing this language, this messaging, and positioning that to your perfect audience is not something that you do in 10 minutes, right? This is going to take you several days if you do it right. And also, this is not an 8-10 hour work exercise. This could be several days of you spending hours to collect information, to reach out, to sign up on newsletters, as I said, going out, reaching out to competitors, doing the survey tracking. And for larger campaigns, this is not something that's going to happen in just a few days. You want to really get your eggs, all eggs in one basket here, as the expression goes. Or actually, that expression doesn't apply, because the expression is don't put your eggs all in one basket, right? But I digress. This has to be something that you do not once, but you do it right, of course, out the gate, and do it extensively, meaning you go deep on this, and that you keep updating this and checking this as you go. Obviously, everything that you do here from a marketing and then ultimately sales perspective is going to have to be tracked. The tracking will allow you to see how well are these messages and these touch points resonating to actually bring you conversions. So that's why this is so important. And again, I'm going to link this document here in the show notes today. But I just wanted to take you through this real quick, because one of the things we get often at the agency is the lack of consistency of messaging to the target audience. It's sort of just somewhat haphazardly thrown out there. And again, each business, different stages of business evolution, different sizes from, your small business or solopreneur, etc., all the way up to multi-million or billion-dollar companies. You still have an opportunity to tune this and to drill down and to find out how can I better improve that targeting to my market and to the audience that needs to receive this. And so this has been the 10 smart market diagnostic steps to have you think about this more and to try and really drill down to tighten this up so that you can get more sales and that your marketing is going to work better for you. So that's it for today. Just wanted to call out if you'd like more information on this and how we do this with traffic and sales from Facebook ads. You can go to jonrognerud.com, JONROGNERUD.com, and click the blue button there. Some other information on there, some client testimonials. Got my blog, you got my media and my books, speaker information. So there's a lot on here, but I really just wanted you to learn about the 10 steps and also think about how this can apply for you. And if you'd like more, just go ahead and click the button there. And outside of that, I hope you're having a great day, evening or night. It's a good morning here from Los Angeles. And hey, it's looking to be a nice day. And I hope that's true for you as well. All right, guys and gals. See ya.